Hello everyone, and welcome back to another ArcGIS Pro tutorial video. And in this tutorial video I want to revisit the idea of dynamic labeling, show a little bit more of its power in terms of the label classes and how we can set up different classes for different sets of features, and really dig into some of the properties that we get when dealing with dynamic labels, as this is going to set the groundwork up for the next video, which is going to talk about using annotated features. So we've got our data set back here. I've removed all the labels and such from the previous videos, and we're actually going to turn off landmarks and roads and focus just on towns. So what we're going to do first, as always, is actually look at the data set itself and figure out what labels or what fields we want to use for labels and see if there's any meaningful groups that we want to differentiate by giving them a different appearance to their labels. So we're going to open the attribute table, and we're going to take a look, and we're going to see here that there's two different name fields. One just has the name, and the other has the name plus whether it's a town or a reservation. And we'll see that that town or reservation designator is also indicated by this LSAD code, 86 for reservation and 43 for town. Now, I'm going to sort of use this as an excuse to show you how to work with label classes, and we're actually going to distinguish between reservations and towns to create two different classes to be able to show them differently using different labels. So what we're going to do, as before, is we're going to go click on towns, make sure that we're up here on the labeling tab, and we're going to go through some of the tools here and use them to differentiate between the towns and the reservations. So what we want to do is we want to create two label classes. The first is going to be LSAD 86, and this is going to be for reservations. So the way this works is just like before when I went through the example with landmarks. If we click the SQL query, you can see here that we're able to build an expression to subset the features. The expression that we're going to want to build here is going to be a new expression where LSAD is equal to 86, because 86 is the LSAD code for reservations. So if I click apply, okay, then I'm going to click turn on labels so that they show up. And then you'll see here that we immediately have two show up, but we're not going to use names, we're going to use name LSAD. And you'll see that we now get the word reservation in there as well. So the next thing that we want to do is we want to create a second class. So if we click the drop down and then we click create class label, we're going to create a second class called LSAD underscore 43. And this is going to house our towns. So we're going to create a new expression, and we're going to create an expression LSAD is equal to, and then we want to have it be equal to 43. And click apply. So you may not have noticed it, but it actually removed the duplicate labels that were occurring under there. And we want to use, again, the, oops, not LSAD, we want to use the names LSAD. Okay. So you can see here that right now all of the labels are the same, so there's no differentiation. But what we've done is we've actually allowed ourselves to edit the two classes independently using the same feature. So what we can do here is we can pop back over to LSAD 86, and you'll see here in the text symbol pane we can adjust many of the text properties. I'm going to click this little drop down to give me even more options over here on the right hand side. I'm going to go to formatting. This is how we adjust things like kerning, letter spacing, letter width. But first I'm going to go up here and I'm going to change it to, let's do something like Times New Roman. Okay. And so you'll see here that it's updating, but you'll see here that the two reservation labels are now Times New Roman, and the other labels are still that Tahoe that was on by default. I'm going to change their color. I'm going to make them sort of a purple. Now we've reduced the contrast, so what we might want to do is actually add a halo. So if we scroll down here, this is where we would add a halo. We can click. I'm going to add a white halo. Click apply. So you see now we've added a halo. Now we can click this and we can switch over to LSAD 43. And now any edits that we do are going to edit the ones that are considered the LSAD 43 class, which is all of the non-reservations. I actually kind of like the idea of having that text contrast, so I'm going to keep them as Tahoe or Tahoma. I might reduce the font size just a little because it's a bigger font in appearance. Reduce the font size slightly so that it appears more similarly sized. I will change the color of it to maybe, let's go with maybe a green. Okay, sure. And then again, just to show you how this works, we can add a halo to that as well. And you'll see that we now have a halo. Okay. So if we go to layout view, you'll see that they've transferred over and we still have the labels in layout view. Now this is the benefit of using dynamic labeling. One, we were able to create these two different classes, but also again, just to show you how this works, right, as we zoom in, it changes the size of the text on the screen so that we keep it relative to the size of the features. So one thing that we might not like is the fact that post-hoc reservation here, maybe you might want to have that all be one line. And in order to do any of those kinds of adjustments, we're really going to have to go into something called annotations, which is what we're going to cover in the next video. But again, hopefully this made clear the power of using dynamic labeling and all the different options that we can use, especially this class option with the SQL queries. Hopefully this made sense, and if you have any questions, please reach out. Thank you.